Before we begin, I would just like to humbly apologize to my mixer for what I'm about to put it through. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, what I am doing is making a monstrosity on purpose. I absolutely want this to be an abomination. That is the goal. What we're doing today involves the always wonderful vintage list of ingredients from the 1950s. Gelatin, tomato juice, and a bunch of random veggies, and mayonnaise. Where did we go wrong? I've just always been really curious about these vintage recipes, like who thought these things up? It must have been in a nightmare because nothing else makes sense to me. But what I'm gonna be doing is trying to make that nightmare come to life. This is actually going to be a recurring series. I'm gonna be releasing a new video every week. The only thing worse than it coming out bad is me loving it. Oh no, I didn't think of that. Let's get into it. So the first thing that we're gonna do is take 2 cups of tomato juice and heat it up. Here's what I was thinking when I first started this. I love tomato soup, and I thought this would just feel so normal, but it's not tomato soup, it's tomato juice. We don't even like Bloody Marys. All right, 2 cups of this. So in our blending mixture, we have a 1/4 cup of tomato juice. I'm using it this way because I have an immersion blender. I don't have a stand-up one. Subscribe if you want me to get one eventually. I don't think it has to be too hot for the gelatin to work. I think it just needs to dissolve. The gelatin, by the way, is lemon flavored. It could jive, it could work. It's not butterscotch, but I'm not confident. It said to put in 2 packets. This feels wrong. I shouldn't have tasted it. That was a bad idea. I'm gonna turn the heat off. I'm just gonna let it sit there for a little bit and then continue working on this. So I just added the lemon rind and the lemon juice. I am now adding a teaspoon of onion salt. Like that'll help. I get the attempt to make the gelatin lemon flavored, but it's still so sweet, and I'm about to make this worse because the next ingredient is 1 cup of mayonnaise. I think it's safe to say a white person definitely made this. Even my love of mayonnaise feels like this should not be happening. Okay, that's a cup. Honestly, do you want to know what this looks like? This reminds me of when I was a server when I was at TGI Fridays, and I would come back to clean the table after the guests had already left, and they had like a 10-year-old there who was just mixing a bunch of crap up together in their drinks, and then I had to clean it up. That wasn't even the worst part about serving. It wasn't a great part, but it wasn't the worst part. Maybe it'll look better afterwards. Now I'm gonna add this and then mix it all together. I know they say to taste as you go, but I'm not going to heed those instructions for this dish in particular. There we go. Now we're on to our next step. The directions are not helpful at all. It says to pour your gelatin mixture into an ice cube tray, and then to just put it in the fridge until it's set around the edges but not in the center. It gives you no timeline. It doesn't say if you should put it in the freezer or in the refrigerator. I'm just gonna put it in the fridge because it's gelatin. That seems pretty obvious to me. And check on it every 10 minutes. Right now we're just gonna pour it in though. This part is strange because you don't typically do things like this with gelatin. It looks like the color of like fry sauce. After this, you blend it up again, and then you also put it in a mold. So we're not done here by any means. They look like vomit, but they're going in the fridge now. I think it's ready for it. The recipe that I got was pretty nondescript about this part. What I'm about to do to this mixer might be the most degrading thing I could ever possibly imagine. I had these in the fridge for a total of about 30 minutes, so they could have just said that on the actual recipe, but so far for this first part, I'm just going to spoon it in because the recipe also didn't say, because it's not like, I can't like crack this open. It's not how it works. Gross. The second one. I'm not gonna say what that reminds me of. The recipe after this says to beat until it's fluffy and light. It's far too liquidy to meet that definition, but we'll see what happens. I still stand by my opinion though, that when it really sets, you're actually gonna want it to be a little bit more liquidy right now, because when it actually sets, that's when it's gonna hold its shape more. And if it held its shape more right now, it'd be too crumbly. So I don't think it's quite exactly where it is supposed to be by the recipe, but I'm also not mad about where it is either. I think it'll be fine. And now for the fun part. A 1/4 cup of diced green pepper, and also a 1/4 cup of pimento. Then we have a cup of celery, 3 cups of cabbage, 1, gross, 2, and 3. From here it says to fold in the veggies. I'm just gonna use my whisk attachment because I don't want to dirty another spatula. I got some on my hand, but I don't want to lick it off. This is the state of affairs currently. It kind of looks like what it looks like when you look inside a Big Mac underneath the bun, you know? The good news is that so far it has all the makings to become the abomination I always hoped it would be. Gelatin, cabbage, tomato juice. Where can you go right in this recipe? Now I'm gonna pour it into the mold. It'll be great. It's almost like coleslaw. There's a lot of veggies in this. This is a very veggie heavy dish. We're always looking for new ways to have vegetables with dinner. Okay, the downside of the silicone mold is that it kind of wants to take like an oblong shape of its own accord. I did not give it permission to do this. Sometimes you just have to work with the talent. So the abomination is in the fridge. It's probably going to be in there for a little while. I don't know how long it would take in case you were wanting to make this at home. But also, if you are wanting to make this at home, I have concerns about you already. I might try to decorate it. I might just have to get creative. There's a real chance I might pipe ketchup onto this monstrosity. At the very least, mayonnaise probably will be piped. I asked Scott to help me out because I'm just very scared about flipping this over.
I think what I'm most worried about is the 2 inches of it dropping right here.
What if I like push this in?
Do you want to just flip it and see what happens? It's already, look, it's separating, okay?
Okay. Stay calm.
Wait, should this be widthwise?
Stay calm. It's kind of working. It's not very pretty. It is an abomination. Some parts are sticking, but you know. We're gonna take it a step farther though, because if you've ever seen anything from the 1950s, it's not just the thing itself that's awful, it's the way they glam it up and make it look just like it should never be on a pedestal. So that's what we're gonna do. It looks like a meatloaf. What a beautiful abomination. She's so pretty.
It's got a vibe.
All right, you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
This is our abomination. She's so pretty. Okay, so a quick review of what is in here. Tomato juice, lemon gelatin, cabbage, pimento, green bell pepper, a bunch of horrible stuff, mayonnaise, things that never belong together. It's a very creative way to get your children to eat their veggies at its best. At its worst, it is what it is, which is an abomination.
I like that you decorated it like a bundt cake or something.
You have to.
Oh, it's perfect.
What, this is supposed to serve 10 to 12 people.
Oh yeah, feast.
I'm not sure you would have 10 to 12 friends if you ever served this at a party though. I love and hate that I had this idea.
Who first?
That smell, man. I feel like I have to go first because I
think you
made
should.
it. Okay.
And I'm like, what if it's really good?
That's what I'm
What
afraid
if it
of.
blows our your
I'm
mind?
afraid of that. Got a lot going on.
I can hear the like this. Can I go for it now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mind over matter?
The texture is the worst part. The mush with like crispy, crunchy celery. Ugh. And the flavor is like really weird fry sauce.
It's like if fry sauce was by a nuclear plant
It's too
and
everything.
it started mutating. Oh, there's so much of the lemon gelatin. It like sits on your tongue and like wraps around it and it doesn't let go.
Yeah, that's a crime against cooking. It's a lot of flavors and none of them come together. I would have a tough time finishing it.
This is what
Like
you
it-
bring to a potluck when you don't want to be asked to bring anything to the potluck again.
I don't know if I could call it like 5 out of 5 terrible, because I could stomach and eat the rest of that. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you for...
Are you impressed that I made something so bad from like the 1950s?
I'm impressed. I hope people ate better than this in the 60s.
I
Because
hope
if this
so,
is a
too.
real thing, I feel sorry for anyone who was subjected
I
to
will
this.
say that the company that like published the recipe, I don't think they're in business anymore, and I think we all understand why now.